Hell has two other aspects we rarely consider. They're curious as well as frightening. On earth, we take for granted two physical properties that keep us physically, mentally, and emotionally stable. The first is light. Most of us don't really enjoy walking around in the dark. I mean, it's a fun game, blind man's bluff, and it's kind of fun for a moment, but darkness is not pleasant on the long haul. The other is a fixed surface. Most of us, it's fun to go in a fun house where you're not sure and you feel like things are moving, but for most of life, we like a fixed surface, an unmoving ground or floor, and we like the lights on. Now think about how hell is described. Because oddly, these two dependables of life will not accommodate people in hell. There's the absence of light and the absence of a fixed surface. Hell is a place of darkness, Matthew 8:12. Imagine the person who has just entered hell, be it your neighbor, your relative, your coworker, or a friend. After the initial roar of physical pain passes by them and blasts them, they spend the first moments wailing and gnashing their teeth. But after a season, they grow accustomed to the pain. Not because it's more tolerable, but their capacity for experiencing it has enlarged, and now they comprehend it. But they're not consumed by it. Though they hurt, they're now able to begin thinking. And instinctively, they begin to look about them. But as they look, all they perceive is blackness all around them. Pain, thinking, but blackness all around them. In our past life, we learned that if we look long enough, a glow of light would somewhere yield definition to our surroundings. So this individual blinks and strains to focus his eyes, but their efforts yield only more blackness. They turn, they strain, they look in another direction, they wait, but they see nothing but unyielding black ink. It's so dark it clings to them. It smothers them. It oppresses them. Realizing that the darkness is not going to give way, they nervously begin to feel around for something solid to get their bearing. They reach out for a wall, for a rock, for a tree, for a chair. They stretch their leg to feel the ground, and yet they touch nothing. The Bible says that hell is a bottomless pit. Revelation 20 tells us. However, the new occupant is slow to learn. In growing panic, they kick their feet, they wave their arms, they stretch, they lunge, but they find nothing. After more feverish tries, they pause from exhaustion. There they are, suspended in black, suddenly, screaming, kicking, twisting, lunging, again until they're too exhausted to move. Hanging there, alone, with pain, unable to touch a solid object or see a solitary thing, our friend begins to weep. They sob, they choke through the darkness, they become weak, and then those sobs are lost in just the roar around them of hell. As time passes, they begin to do what the rich man did. They again start to think. Their first thoughts are of hope. You see, this person still thinks as he did on earth when he kept himself alive with hope. When things got bad, he always found hope for a way out. When he felt pain, he took medicine. When we were hungry, we found food. When we lost love, there was more love to be found somewhere, somehow. That's how life on earth always is. So, he casts about in his mind for a plan to apply to the hope building in his chest. Of course, now he thinks of Jesus, the God of love. That's right. I remember now, Jesus can get me out of this. I heard about him somewhere, sometime. He cries with a surge, Jesus, Jesus, you were right after all. Now, please get me out of this. You were right. His words go off into the darkness. So he thinks maybe he didn't cry enough. And so he cries again after waiting and breathing hard with desperation, and screams again, Jesus, I believe now, save me from this. but the darkness just smothers his words. And what's amazing is this sinner is not unique. Because all over, everyone in hell is now a believer. Everyone believes now. And when they weary of appeals, they do what exactly anyone would do. They assess their situation. They attempt to adapt to it. And then, finally, for this lost sinner, it hits him. The worst part. What the Bible repeats most often. That this blackness, this darkness, this bottomlessness, this vengeance of eternal fire lasts forever. Forever. If you believe that God exists forever, if you believe that Jesus died to give everlasting life, then the very same terminology of forever of God and of endless life for believers is the exact same term Jesus uses every time he talks about hell. And so our friend, as he thinks of forever, his mind begins to labor in the blackness until he aches. Forever, he whispers in wonder. The idea deepens, widens, and towers over him. The awful truth spreads before him like an endless, overlapping cloud. Forever. When I put 10,000 centuries of time here, I will not have accomplished one thing, he thinks. I will not have 1 second less to spend here.